This weekend brought us a military parade that was equal parts bizarre and over the top. But while the tanks rolled down the street, millions of Americans hit the streets too, protesting violence and unrest in unprecedented numbers. It's a lot to take in, so let's try and have a laugh as we break down Trump's birthday parade and the bigger mess behind it. Are we witnessing a final show of strength before things get worse? Or could this be a turning point for healing? What's next for a country and world that seems so divided right now? If you're new here, hello, I'm Evie, and if you like what's going on in the world, you should totally subscribe. We do 5 videos a week on all the news, big and small, so get in on this. All right, let's go. On his 79th birthday, President Trump celebrated in classic Trump fashion by spending over 3 hours watching an abysmal military parade and having nobody show up because nobody likes him. Officially, it was a nod to 250 years of the US Army's history, but to his fans, it was more like a cinematic trailer for America's Got Tanks. So where was everyone on Donald's big birthday? Well, protesting him. Demonstrators around the country branded him a dictator in the biggest protest since his return to power, declaring America has no king. So not only did nobody come to this guy's birthday, they all went to his anti-birthday party. How embarrassing. Let's have a little look at both events and see what was going on this weekend. On Saturday, Constitution Ave turned into a live-action war movie as soldiers, tanks, and even little robot dogs strutted their stuff. Paratroopers made dramatic entrances from the sky, and military aircraft zipped past the Washington Monument like extras in a blockbuster. It was the first major military parade in DC since 1991, and something as gaudy, self-serving, and poorly organized could really only happen under Trump. But honestly, yes, I am gonna roast the shit out of this because it's funny, but it's also unfathomably messed up. And I'm honestly feeling really, really weird about the world today, and making fun of Donald Trump kind of makes me feel better, so take a look at this bizarre, overt propaganda ad for the parade.
In the fires of revolution, tested on today's front lines of freedom. Before there was a nation, there was the United States Army.
The movie trailer voice on propaganda is maybe the most American thing I can think of. Coming this summer, Captain America gets attacked by a robot dog, your neighbor gets deported, and eggs are $5 million now. The country you knew is gone. Strong invite list at the parade, by the way. We've got chronic texter and now sober driver Pete Hegseth. Hide your drinks and hide your poke. It's JD Vance. And oh my god, they got Melania! So exciting to see Melania in the flesh. I genuinely wonder how they convinced her to come. But of course, there was no Elon. Over at the No Kings protest, we've got Mark Ruffalo, Olivia Rodrigo, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Kerry frickin' Washington. The cool kids are at the other party. Donnie has been rock hard for his own military parade for a long time. For him, the parade was basically a giant flex about his second-term dreams. Forget the eye-popping $90 million price tag or the awkward and obvious comparisons to tank-happy authoritarian leaders. This was his way of saying, budget, smudge it, look at my tanks. Subtlety has never really been this guy's thing. I mean, look at his comically enormous tie. Clown. An interesting factoid, the tanks you see here in the parade are green, but in reality most of America's tanks are beige camouflage, considering they do most of their fighting on foreign deserts. So if you know a lot about tanks, let me know in the comments what we're seeing here and why they went with those green ones instead. I want to know. Overall, the parade has a notable paradox. Donald Trump campaigned on a promise to end foreign wars, yet Americans witnessed a grand display of military strength in the heart of Washington, D.C. JD Vance, a prominent advocate for men's eyeliner and Trump's anti-interventionist foreign policy, addressed this seeming contradiction. Speaking to the gathered soldiers, he emphasized that the parade was intended as a tribute to the administration's respect and appreciation of America's servicemen and women. But let's call it what it was. An overpriced extravaganza from the Trump administration's vast effort to make one guy feel good about himself. What Trump wanted was probably something like this. But instead it looked like this. Or maybe he was after something more like this. The parade is being panned as a failure and an embarrassment. And I'm not surprised. These guys aren't even walking in time. The weather could have been better, with some claiming the drizzly grey skies kept the audience small, but at Trump's inauguration in the freezing cold, people did show up for him. For comparison, over at the No Kings protests, they had over 5 million attendees at more than 2,000 events, demonstrating that America is, in fact, done with this clown show. It's comforting to see that what could have been a chilling spectacle of America's self-destruction turned into a powerful moment of unity as citizens came together in unprecedented numbers to oppose it. The parade vibe was actually pretty chill, thanks mostly to Trump supporters, military families, and curious day trippers who just wanted to see a parade. About an hour into the parade, which was still rolling along, the crowd started to show signs of boredom, despite such massive excitement as UFC sponsorship ads.
Special thanks to our sponsor, UFC.
When asked about the parade, one young man said he wasn't impressed, feeling that Trump's heavy involvement had turned it into a political stunt and made a mockery of the army. Not that that was the army's fault, but his final verdict was even simpler. The whole thing was just kind of lame. The Trump party invitees did some chilling speeches. Trump referred to the military as warriors who jump into the crucible of fire. And later, the MC thanked special sponsor Palantir, a contractor hired to help Trump compile data on Americans across federal agencies. Check out my video on that here and you'll feel real weird about them sponsoring a military parade. All right. Jokes aside, the parade happened during a pretty grim weekend for America and the world. Saturday's headlines were dominated by a manhunt after the assassination of a Democratic state legislator in Minnesota, along with an attempted assassination of another. For most of the day, instead of watching tanks, people speculated about the shooting of State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and State Senator John A. Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were injured in the attack. At the same time, tensions between Israel and Iran were heating up, raising fears of a broader regional war that could pull in the US and other global powers. News anchors frequently cut away from domestic updates to show explosions in Tehran and rockets lighting up Jerusalem's skies. On social media and TV, different stories clashed. Critics argued the parade was another example of Trump using the military to promote himself and even silence opposition. On one hand, there was President Trump's flashy military parade, a pricey, awkward spectacle straight out of his own fantasy, designed to flex power. On the other, millions of Americans took to the streets in massive protests, shouting, "No kings here," rejecting the very idea of authoritarian showmanship. This contrast feels like a snapshot of the world today, a nation divided between displays of strength and calls for democracy, between costly pageantry and real, raw unrest. As the drums of war grow louder abroad and political divisions deepen, we have to ask, are we marching towards unity or tumbling towards global conflict? In a world so fragile, will parades of power become relics of a past left behind or warnings of what's to come? It's okay to be a bit scared right now. I'm quite scared. But to be honest, I'm scared all the time. But I hope at least one of my stupid little jokes today erased your unrest for even a couple of seconds, because being mean to Trump did make me feel better, just like I knew it would. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.